One.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Q&A for the shorts program. You've just seen the first of two short fictions programs in this year's Third Horizon, and I'm so thrilled that two of the filmmakers of four of the films that you've seen are with us. Yannis St. Rose, the director of Tough Guy, and Mandy Marcus, the director of Cousins. Welcome to you both, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yannis, I'll start with you because your film was the first in the program, and I believe this is the world premiere for the film. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm really happy to be on this program, to be the first screening on the world on Third Horizon, because there is a meaning as a of your values in what I saw, what I see in my way of making movies. So it's really a pleasure to be the first time screening on Third Horizon.
And am I right in thinking that this is your first short, or have you done previous work?
So this is the first short of this scale, I would say, with a team, a big team. I directed some movie before, but it was like smaller team.
And so tell me then, I mean, what was the idea behind this film? Is this character, I don't want to pry, but is this character based on anyone you know?
I think it's a mix of a different person that I know, and mostly that I talk with women that told me about. The idea was at the beginning of some situation where I felt really uncomfortable with this kind of situation, and I was every time like asking myself, I didn't know what to do, and I was like, there is an issue there. We have to question, and the idea was to question myself first in the way maybe I act or acted in a passive or active way, and also to talk about microaggression. This is the way they call it, but actually aggression is aggression. But I'm talking about what you don't think is sometimes, most of the time, men thinks they are acceptable things. They are not, like, as they are not physically or really strong aggression, it's okay. But when one mosquito bites you, it's okay. But when 10 mosquito bite you, it's like a different thing. So the idea was to talk about those situations, and yeah, this is a mix of different character that they told me about or that I saw, or yeah.
So we have been joined by another of the filmmakers in the program, Caleb Aguilar. Hello, Caleb.
Hey, sorry I'm late. I thought I was early.
That's quite all right. We're so thrilled to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Caleb is the director of No Entry, which is the second film that screened in the program. I'm going to shift back over now to Mandy, because I've just asked Yannis about the genesis of his film. So Mandy, the same question to you. I mean, this, I believe, was a student project. What was the idea behind it?
Sure. So this film was my thesis project for graduate film school. And I knew I wanted to make a film that was about my experience of being a part of the Caribbean diaspora and having cousins in Canada and England and back in Guyana, and the experience of like meeting back up together and hanging out, and kind of the friendships with my family around the world. So that was one theme I wanted to explore, but I also wanted to explore the idea of kind of mundane moments that happen in our teen years that when we look back on them, we think of them as like pivotal moments in growing up and in the ways we understood the world, and how things go from being like very simple when you're a child to more complex. And so those were kind of the two big ideas that or themes that I wanted to explore in the film.
Yeah, it's a film where, you know, there isn't a conventionally sort of, you know, driving plot. Not a lot happens in conventional terms, but there is a lot still in there, you know, in terms of you know, the emotional content of the film and the relationship between the two cousins. Can you say something about that and the dynamic between your actresses and how that was created?
Sure. So I had a couple different cousins that I was thinking of when I wrote the script. And some of them, their relationship with each other, the relationship with me. So going into casting, I knew it would be super important to have two actresses that could really vibe together off screen. So there were a couple things that I did in advance of casting, which was that we reached out to a lot of Caribbean organizations in New York and had them post about the auditions. I also requested that all the actresses have some sort of a Caribbean background, like they don't have to be first generation or anything, but like have some relationship to the culture. And then we basically just did group auditions with non-actors and actors mixed together. And I recorded it all because I was running the auditions and just watched the tape back and saw how all the young actresses kind of worked with each other. And Victoria and Michaela, who play Vanessa and Nikki, were just amazing. They like immediately had great chemistry. And so then the next step was really just seeing how they vibe together. So instead of having them read sides, I had them kind of improvise around different scenarios that could be in the film but aren't. And they were amazing at that. So I was like, okay, it's a done deal. And then a lot of our rehearsals were just improvising, talking, and just like playing around. And then they learned all of the lines for the film on their own, kind of as homework. So it all came very natural when we were on set because they had just actually become friends.
And did they bring any of that improvisational stuff to the shoot, or was there a final shooting script that you worked with that was like set?
Yeah, we did so much improv in rehearsals that the shooting, what you actually see is all in the script. We had like almost no improv in the actual film and in the actual shoot.
Yeah. Caleb, thanks again for joining us and for your film. This is also a student film, and you made it at Goldsmiths here in London. I'm in London as well. But you are from Jamaica itself. So you came from Jamaica to the UK to study film, and you made this film. Could you say something about, you know, how you ended up deciding that you wanted to make a film about the Windrush scandal?
Yeah. Well, there was an original idea and an original script, which was kind of loosely based off of like my life being someone that's not from the UK and trying to like navigate life here. So kind of like about the son really and how he navigates you know, his life. And so what was kind of the what do you want to say, like the inciting incident when developing that, I was, you know, taking some time to think about it. And then around December 2019, there was talks of the Jamaica 50 charter flight, which is this mass deportation of Jamaicans from the UK back to Jamaica. And I was like, just looking into that. And then around the same time, there's this resurgence of news about the Windrush generation and the Windrush scandal. And I really started to the research into that. And I was a bit scared to like tackle something so political, especially being at Goldsmiths and especially being one of the only Black students. And just, even though there was all this feeling of like, well, if not me, then who? I still was a bit like, oh, I want to talk about this, but oh, I don't know if I really want to go in detail with this. Oh, and then lockdown happened. And we didn't know what was going to happen with the scripts and with the films that we were doing. And Goldsmiths basically went in limbo for months. And then during that time, we got a writer on board. My producer found a writer who was interested in just like helping out. And she's Kim from Barbados, Kim Taylor from Barbados, but living in London. And she said, you know, let's just explore the mom. Let's just explore the story of the mom and like what that really would have looked like. And from that, we just did a deep dive and we interviewed people who were deported, journalists, press, just a whole bunch of people. And that created this story and this script. And then when we got the green light in like October or something that we were going to be able to shoot our grad films, we literally had about like 3 weeks to finish. By this point, Goldsmiths has said, okay, you know, you should have changed your scripts. You have 3 weeks to like make a film. We were like, okay, I guess. And so, yeah, we just got things, you know, together and like tried to make a COVID film. But still like keep the heart and the truth of the story alive as best as possible. So yeah, that's the story.
And was everything like you know, casted and all ready to go, you know, when they said, okay, you have 3 weeks shoot, or you know, did you have to like, you know, scramble to put things in place?
Oh no, it was a big scramble. It was a big scramble. We were lucky to be the last group to shoot, because 2 films would have shot each, like based on the schedule. We had about like 5 weeks, whereas everyone else had about like 3 weeks. So we were lucky in that regard, but it was still, I mean, come on, you're scrambling to find a cast and location and fulfill a crew. And also because like by this point, no, I've worked on a lot of COVID sets, but in like September or October, whenever it was, like last year, no one really knew what a COVID set really looked like. And so there was a whole lot of confusion. So even things that we were like doing at this set and things that we ended up taking out of the script because it wasn't COVID safe, you know, like, no, it's like, you could have done those things. We could have done a lot more. But you know, it is what it is.
Well, it's a remarkable achievement under those circumstances. That's amazing. Yanis, I want to come back to you, and I want to ask you the question of form and the form your film takes, because you're dealing with a serious issue, and you could have made, you know, a straight drama, but you decided to make a more sort of fantastical film with this element of the you know, the voodoo, the black magic, you know, that is worked on the young man, and you know, having this wonderful idea of the genes becoming, you know, restricting on him, and you know, and then having, you know, his whole world flipped upside down, you know, and then a lot of humor coming in with that. How did you decide that that's the way you wanted to go with dealing with the issue?
So yeah, the idea was to tell the story as a tale, the form of a tale, because it was a way also to make it easier to get into the movie. And the idea of the gene, the form, was also because I was struggling with the writing to not go into something that would be advertisement, like prevention advertisement. Is it that, like you say, don't do that, you know,
a cautionary tale. That's what
yeah,
you would say.
yeah. So that was the idea, to introduce this element of the gene, to get out of this idea, and to put another character, which is the gene. The gene is like the character of the movie, that we are following every time there is something happening, and is afraid. He is feeling this gene tighten on him. And yeah, it was also this idea of, there is a comedy, there is humor in it, like a humor that transform to something awkward. At the beginning, you are laughing at him because you don't want to like him, because you clearly see that he's an asshole. And along the movie, you starting to understand that, you know, we are not talking about him. We are talking about real life out there. We are talking about something that happening out there. And yeah, that was the idea of, make something funny, not funny.
Right. Yeah. Um, I also wanted to ask you about, because there's this issue in the film. It's not really an issue, but it's mentioned that he has returned to Martinique. He's been abroad, and there's this question as to why he has come back, if he is, such a an educated and accomplished, successful young man, why he would come back. And it's something that struck me as something that I've noticed in a number of the films from Martinique that are in the festival this year. This idea of young Martiniquais going to La Métropole, going to France, and not coming back, and this idea of the aging population. I wonder why you felt the need to make that reference in the film.
Yeah, because so every time it's a way also to talk about politics, and it's a real issue that we have here, that in Martinique we are, every time you told me we talk, you say French Caribbean, we are French Caribbean, so that make us French, like we have French passport, our president is the French president, our money is the French money, so everything is about, so we have this thing, this link with France since slavery, but that made a big, in the 60s, 70s, there were a big issue they called the Bumidum. I think it's something that Jamaica, it's the same process to bring people in France. And yeah, now we have a dependence, like before that it was like just a state dependence, but now it's like we have family there, we have cousins there, everyone, so we have this link. And now when you are 18, you finish school, you have to go to France to continue your study of anything, because there is this thing, and most of the time people just stay there. So it's like now a political statement to go back in Martinique, because obviously you're gonna win less. You won't have the European life, but I don't know if it's an issue, but it's, for people that are
Yeah.
staying, it's an issue. Like, and and yeah, so it's a thing that I wanted to, just to stay. That's also why the person that is seeing are telling him like, it would be really great if you, because obviously when you come back, people that are able to pay you the same way are like the direct descendants of colonizer. So there is like a big struggle also, that people are staying there in France because they're like, I don't want to go back in Martinique to work for those people, you know? So there is like a real confusion that like you stay in France or anywhere else in the world, or you go back because you want to go back, and but you want to be paid for the same money, but only people that can pay you for the same money are, yeah, the direct descent of the old master.
Yeah. Thank you. Um, Mandy and Caleb, I wanted to ask you both, as you know, these films you made, they're, you know, student projects, and now you've made them, and you're now graduate filmmakers. I'm wondering what plans you have next for, you know, I don't know if the next, or your goal is feature filmmaking, to make a feature, and if the topics that you explore in these films, maybe you might want to revisit in longer form. Mandy, I don't know why, but I felt watching your film that this could expand into, these characters in this world could be expanded upon into something feature length. Is that something that you're interested in doing?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. If it's a feature, I'd have to come up with like an actual plot, which is harder. It was not something that I'm generally interested in. But yeah, so I'm definitely thinking about expanding Cousins into a feature. Right now, I'm just like working to pay off my student loans. But I'm also writing, I'm writing a feature about like, what are they called? Like pyramid schemes, multi-level marketing, because in the mid 2000s, a lot of them, like Quickstar, for example, ones through Amway, were targeting Caribbean people, Caribbean immigrants, and those MLMs kind of like ran through the community, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. And so I'm writing something about my recollections of that right now. But yeah, we'll return to Cousins later on.
Oh, great. And Caleb, will you be continuing to work in the UK, or is your plan to return to Jamaica and work there?
Yeah, well, I'm heading back to Jamaica in August. I have another short, which I got funding from the Commonwealth Foundation to make that short film. And I'm also working on a video exhibition, which I'm doing with the National Gallery. So I'm pretty excited about like those projects for the next few months. And then coming back to London to work on some other projects. So for example, Rocket, which was the original idea, I'm shopping that around and seeing where I can get funding for that. And
what's that? What's Rocket?
Yeah, so that's it really tells the story of Eli after what you watched in No Entry, of kind of like how he exhausts all his resources to try and save his mom. Mm-hmm. And if he does. So I want to tell that story and see what happens over the next, few months/years.
Yeah. It's very strange to be graduating during a pandemic, basically.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it really complicated.
All the ideas and plans that you thought you had are just like, even this Commonwealth thing, like this was supposed to happen in 2019 and I'm just now doing it in like 2021. So yeah.
Completely different calendars now, timelines for everyone really. Yanis, you work with an initiative in Martinique called Cinema One, and maybe you could say something about that, because I know it's kind of like Third Horizon, isn't it? It's both cinema production and exhibition.
Yeah, we are doing a lot of exhibition. It's a project that we start. We were in Paris. We were like people from Martinique, Guadeloupe, and we start to do exhibition of movie from the Afro-diasporic side. And we go back to Martinique, to Guadeloupe, to Guyana, French Guyana, to La Réunion Island, and yeah, we are showing. We have like a wire of exhibition right now, and at the beginning of the month we organized the first festival called Diasporama. That was online too. So yeah, it's a project that we are working. We are with Wally that is showing a movie also at the Third Horizon Festival. So yeah,
that's wonderful, and we look forward to seeing more from Cinema One, and we wish you the best of luck as your film now goes on its journey in the world. best of luck with it, showing it everywhere. And same to you, Mandy and Caleb, with your films, and with what comes next for you as filmmakers graduating in a pandemic. We wish you the best of luck, and we want to thank you once again, for being here, being a part of this mostly virtual edition of Third Horizon, with the hope that in the future we will all meet together in Miami in person, and be able to celebrate cinema together. So thank you all so much for joining me, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.